lovely gurus. Welcome to your July Pathology reading. I am Princess India. If you are new, if you are family, welcome back, my friend. So, for you guys, as you know, if you've watched any of the other paths, I don't know if you did because the intention is to post all of these at the same time, but anywho, everything about pathology, how it works, all of that is in the description box below, as well as the zodiac signs it would resonate with and any signs that came up in the reading. And as you guys will learn, because I can't say as you know, I channel before these, so I meditate, get into this energy, and any specific messages that Spirit has for you guys or themes or anything like that to look out for the month ahead, I go ahead and jot those down and share those with you. I separate them into two parts. The ones that I share on YouTube are like general, so they're really like bullet point oriented, like straight to the point. The ones that we cover in the extended are more specific, more heavy, a lot more metaphysical. And I also give you guys, your tangible action steps, interventions, and different exercises and things of the sort to help you with whatever the theme is going to be for your month energetically, as well as extending the cards and healing messages and all that other kind of good stuff and any other cool thing that kind of pops up when we're over there. But anywho, so the theme for gurus this month is belief system, right? And the thing that's interesting is when Spirit said belief system, it's like I literally saw it like a structure. So my first inclination was like, okay, so are we talking about like churches, like stuff? Because I saw it like a big, massive cathedral. But in truth, these are mindsets that are like solid like stone. And it's like a program that's running in the background for you guys' life, like, or for most of your life or whatever. So these are things that are going to be the main theme that you guys are going to be working out in July. So the main little tidbits that I have, the first one says, it's time to put your oldest and deeply held beliefs on trial and to release the ones no longer serving the highest vision of your highest vision on your truth or the one that you're aspiring to. The limiting belief that I saw most clearly, and I'm going to have to explain this. The one that I saw most clearly was one that, and it's funny because it would take discernment to be able to even notice that you're doing this because it's so middle of the road where talking about it or describing it as characteristics would seem like a very positive characteristic, right? But there's a whole nother dark side to it that is holding the people back who resonate with this, right? So with this particular limiting belief, it manifests as a person who is content, right? Like a person who's humble and is totally cool with delayed gratification, right? Which in the bigger scheme of life, that's something that we would think, right? Like delayed gratification. You can't always get instant gratification. That's what's wrong with the world now, right? It's what you would think, right? But the thing that's hidden underneath a person's comfort with delayed gratification, the limiting facet of it is a person who literally gives of themselves, right? Empties themselves out, right? Self-sacrifices, borderlining on a martyr complex, right? A person who gives everything of themselves to a fault in hopes of receiving reciprocity somewhere down there in the future, somewhere, hopefully, right? But the way that I saw it in a pattern of who I would be talking about here is that reciprocity never seems to come. So it's more or less a person who finds in love relationships that they let their partner use and I can't even say partner, because like how I'm seeing it is like you would be dating someone, you let them use your car. If they need money, you give it to them. If they need you to show up for them, you show up. It's like you're cooking for them, you're buying them clothes, like you're doing, and I'm not saying this specifically that someone's doing this, but hypothetically, it's like it's giving a lot of yourself, babysitting their kids and, a myriad of other things, right? But the person doesn't do anything for you, right? But it's like the person being okay with that. And you would think like, who would be okay with that? Well, yeah, consciously, you would think that if you didn't have this limiting belief that's hiding underneath, right? The program that's influencing it, But the thing that has that person in a situation like that where they don't see a problem with it, right? They may not like it. It may be uncomfortable. But the core belief is that one day they're going to give me everything it is that I've given to them. They have to, right? Because it's the thought of, how could you do that much for a person and them not reciprocate, right? But the thing that this person is going to start to see is how they're showing up that way in a lot of ways. So much so that maybe even into your life, right? Like work life. It's always working, overtime. When you get paid salary, so you ain't getting paid no overtime. You know what I'm saying? But volunteering to do it. Because it's the thought, my boss will recognize me and I'll get rewarded for this later on. I just have to stay the course and keep going without, right? So it's almost like the ultimate form of altruism, and thinking that that's the proper way to be and not seeing it as self-denial, which is what the frequency is underneath that, right? So that kind of shows you the intricate nature of how limiting beliefs work. It's almost like it's like a monster that's like masquerading as like this angel of light. It seems so dope and cool, and wow, they're so kind and they're so humble and they don't ask for too much. You know what I'm saying? But it's like it's a limiting belief that's holding the person back from the gift of receiving. And that, of course, becomes like a cancerous cell in a sense that ends up spreading in our life energetically, where we ultimately get to a point where we can't even receive from spirit. Like spirit will be trying to move a person forward and it'll be denying it, or not being able to connect with spirit, or not being able to connect with unconditional love, because it's a false belief that of conditional love, in so many words, that I have to be something, I have to put in work, I have to be something other than I am in order to be loved. And that's not true, right? And that does make it very difficult to receive love from spirit or God or whatever you want to call it, because it's too easy. It's like, how could you just love me? It would be kind of easier to align with, like Old Testament God in a sense. It's just like you have one bad thought and you die. You feel me? So anywho, the thing that you would want to do with this also, like practical application in a sense, exploring the areas in your life and thought that you're stuck, and digging to the root and creating plans to uproot and replace and change them. That's another thing that I'm going to, an exercise I'm going to share with you guys in the extended. Looking at what thoughts are preventing you from the life that you want. And of course, going with our overall theme of Cancer season, which is self-evaluation, thinking about what you're thinking about, thought logging, journal reflection, looking at what are your beliefs about life, change, and money. And one tip that I have for you guys is implementing like a daily devotional, or like a good deck would be like the Daily Angel Guidance Cards by Doreen Virtue, and just like picking a card a day and just kind of sitting with it and just seeing, what it gives you for the day, or, what it makes you think about or whatever, and journaling those things. And then like the most influential energy as far as like planetary transits and all that stuff, the new moon is very important for setting your intentions, right? The eclipse is going to be important because we're looking at the fact that there's going to be things that are like eclipsed out of our life. It's like that comfortable surrender, which is the reason why these themes are coming up, because whatever kind of tower moment is going to come with the eclipse is going to be related to these energies that are coming up in the themes for all of the readings, right? And then for the retrograde, for the retrograde, it's more or less going to be that going within time and like practically applying this plan to prep us for moving forward after the retrograde. So these energies are going to assist you in facilitating the adjustments. Specifically for my guru people, is going to be shining light on hidden ties that bind in both energy and thought. And this is the specific message that Spirit said. It's no longer in service to you to serve that which isn't serving you in return, right? Now, your point to ponder for the month. You guys might want to jot this down. It's like a little reflection question, you know what I'm saying? Get your little going on. And that's, if your life is a message, what is the message your life, as it stands at this present moment, is sending to the world? How does your life reflect the truth of who you are? Does it do that at all? If not, then every reason that comes up as to why it does not is of utmost importance, right? Meaning it's something you want to look at. So like I said, in the extended reading, the main thing that we're looking at is the remainder of the channel messages that I got. Then we're going into solutions, interventions. That's going to assist you guys like with regaining control. I cannot talk. Mercury retrograde is getting all up in my mouth. But it's going to assist you guys with regaining control over your thought space. And it's a specific exercise that I'm going to have you guys do. And you can do that as many times as you like. And we're looking at the mindsets, the signs of the mindsets, how to break those mindsets, and realigning, of course, with your most authentic truth, my friend. As well as, you know, going into the rest of the reading, extending what comes up here. And any additional guidance that comes up, and kind of looking at everything we talk about here in depth. You know what I'm saying? So anywho, we're going to go ahead and jump into you guys' reading and look at what's going on this month. We're, of course, going to use the dice of resonance. And then I need you guys' help with naming my new dice. Because one of my subbies named the dice of resonance. Before that, I called it the Zodi die. I'm not good at naming things, clearly. But comment below what you guys think I should name the new dice. You know, there's 3 of them. You know? Maybe the 3 Musketeers? I don't know. Y'all are more creative than I am. So, anywho, Spirit, please give us clear and direct deck. I can't talk, y'all. Somebody pray for my mouth. What am I without my mouth? Anyway, Spirit, please give us clear and direct guidance of anything that my gurus need to know for the month of July, Spirit. I ask that come to the forefront in this here reading. As always, thank you in advance because I know you're good for it, Spirit. So let's see. What are we dealing with overall for my gurus for the month of July, Spirit? I want to take that because it's sticking out. Detach. In essence, it's a justice card. This is so beautiful. So, this is talking about being the objective observer, because you're already observing your life. You're just not aware that you're observing it, right? So it's more or less stepping outside of the proverbial matrix, right? I say as we continue on our spiritual ascension path, we graduate to a place that I call the director's chair of life. The director's chair of life is, if you think of a director's chair, and the way that I like to see it is if you think about, you know, the world. And the director's chair is so high that, like in your city, you could see all the way to the skyline. So it's almost like that perspective in life. It's knowing that, and you know, we jump in and out of it, but it's the whole key of attuning to it. And I believe that this is the gateway or the beginnings of it. It's understanding like that first spiritual awakening, like the funny video that I have on Instagram of like, I don't think I'm my body. It's like, I think I'm someone else. Like, it's thoughts like that and that expanding into us applying that to life. It's like, I am not my history. Granted, it's integrated. It's a part of who I am, right? But where I've been, what I've done, what other people do to me, that doesn't define me, right? Because who I truly am is defined by something far greater than others' opinions. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like an inner authority. It's knowing that you aren't what you go through. You know what I'm saying? Or how other people treat you really doesn't say anything about you, because the other person does not know you, right? Or themselves. You know what I'm saying? Because if they did know themselves, they would know better than a judge. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so as you guys coming into this energy of learning, almost like what the Ace of Swords would symbolize is like how to cut marrow from bone with discernment, right? So kind of like a perfect example of this would be like what I said with that limiting belief, like a spirit showing it to me. And me being able, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like with you having clairvoyance. You know what I'm saying? I'm just using this illustratively. But it's like spirit is showing me this thing, but it's like I'm seeing how it's chopped down. So I'm seeing from 2 perspectives. I'm seeing how a person who is running off of this subconscious program, how they would be perceiving their situation. I'm seeing how a person outside of them would be perceiving their situation, how the person they're with would be perceiving the situation. But spiritually, it was a whole nother thing, right? Which is why listening to your intuition and developing discernment is so important, right? Because it gives you the ability to see into the truth of a matter. Everything can look a-okay and fine on the surface, but your discernment gives you the ability to dig in deeper and to see the truth about a situation, even though externally it could have not a flaw, right? But this is something that's going to be developing for you guys this month. Oh, and your emotional challenge is to trust my baby with the Fool card. Take a chance, step into your truth, believe in yourself. You know what I'm saying? So that's going to be the challenge for this month. It's to start anew, to accept a new beginning. That's kind of bringing me back to that energy I was talking about of receiving, right? It's almost everything that glitters isn't gold. This is too good to be true. It's more or less preparing you to not deny the beauty that's coming into your life, because it comes to a sense of feeling undeserving of it, right? So it's like, if this limiting belief isn't addressed, then it's not about you guys healing it instantaneously. Like I always say, the way that we gain power and dominion over things is by shining light on it. The moment that you become aware that something is going on, you don't have to rush to fix it. Because, I hear that a lot with, people thinking like, like there's a transit that's coming and, this is going to be the last opportunity to let this thing go or to finally get this thing that you want so bad, right? And it's like, if you don't fix this particular thing, or if you don't figure out what that is, then it's like, you're just screwed until this transit happens again. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't work like that. It's all about, like, you would be included just off of the aspect of you being aware of it. Because a person who becomes aware of things that are plaguing them, or becomes aware of anything in life, you've already won half the battle. The biggest battle is coming into the awareness of most things that are going on behind the scenes, right? Because awareness gives you power. That means you can now make choices and decisions on how to gain dominion over this thing. You can even choose to not gain dominion over it. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't know it's there, then you don't have any power. So don't feel pressured with that. But I feel the reason why this is coming up now is because, and I felt this for just about everyone, coming into August is going to be a lot of really dope stuff that's happening for people. Once Mercury goes direct and we're coming out of retro shade, whether that's, something coming from within out, like meaning something you guys are launching, or if you've been waiting for a job, or, waiting on settlements with, whatchamacallit, court stuff. I don't know why I couldn't get the word out. But settlements with court stuff or what have you. It's whatever it is that you guys are working towards or desiring. It's more or less, this is saying to me that it's like Spirit wants to bless you with it. But if you don't see yourself as deserving, it may be difficult to receive it, or you may be suspicious when it comes, because of, especially those with that belief of thinking like, nah, that was too easy. You know what I'm saying? There has to be a catch, and being like suspicious of it, right? But that is one thing I'm seeing too, specifically for people who are dealing with stuff with court and whatnot. It's like, I feel it in the sense of like, anxiety, worry, like stressing out, and the way that you would free yourself is by releasing the situation. It's like, it's being too attached to the outcome. You know what I'm saying? So it's more or less needing to trust in yourself. Like, first, personal responsibility is doing all that it is that you can possibly do, right? Once we've done that, we have to release control of it and trust Spirit that the best outcome will be rendered. Once we get that outcome, then we start thinking about what we do moving forward. But it's not serving you to sit and marinate and ruminate over worst case scenarios. All it's doing is killing your energy and, the power you have in the present to do anything about anything else. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of like being cognizant of your thought space. You know what I mean? And you really want to fixate your attention on what it is that you're desiring. Oh, this is so fun. Your soul lessons. We got the good old devil card. You know what I'm saying? The things that are binding you, the ties that bind, man. And why it's so important with this too is because how I said how it's kind of like a cancer cell and it starts to bleed to other facets of your life. And mind you, we have 3 major arcanas here already. But that's the thing that I'm seeing. It's more or less it closes off your heart space. It's like You guys are cultivating a posture of receiving this month, knowing that you deserve to receive, right? Opening up your heart, because your heart space has been shut down because it's been in submission to your mind for far too long, right? So it's more or less ego, it's experience, right? Because the ego believes we are what we've experienced. Our life says we're not good enough. You know, this is what life has taught me. Therefore, that's truth. When in essence, that's really a lie. That's another little secret trick about identifying your core beliefs, because that's something I hear people say all the time. So the whole thing is your heart is the true master. And I might have to, I think I still have that on Instagram. If you go on my Instagram, you have to scroll down a little bit, but it's a video of me painting with my Sumi brushes, and it's in black and white. And it's like, I think you see like a pyramid. And if you press play, you're going to start to hear like a recording. But the description in that is a Zen Buddhism story, like it's a parable that talks about the battle between mind and heart, right? And even looking at this too, which is going into a myriad of different ways. Let me finish this thought first, because that just went into like 3 to 5 different things. But I would look at that because it talks about the true role that your heart plays in your life and what your ego attempts to do and how to gain mastery over that. And that, in essence, kind of translating into our own personal happiness and what the goal is for the collective in general, right? But the couple of things that came to me when I'm looking at this first, you guys may want to look at the Seer, because whenever major arcanas are coming up, I always look at the reduced numbers and relate that to one of the paths. So the Seer reading would be helpful to you guys. And then the thing I was looking at with this Devil card, and I just thought that was funny, when you're reducing 15 to 6, right? We're talking about the Lovers, right? Which would be our wounded healer path. And the funny thing with this is that's about choice, right? It's about that separation, right? Of like, you know, the dyad or whatever. So like masculine and feminine, male and female, whatever. And making the separation, like with that sort of truth, using your discernment to make the separation between mind, ego, and heart, right? And spirit, between love and between fear, and how that, you know, detached perspective, that objective observer of one's life and experiences is the only way to gain dominion, to utilize discernment, to be able to separate things that seemingly are so closely interlinked. It's what gives you the ability to make choices in situations that prior to seemed as if you were in submission of, like, I'm helpless in this situation. I literally have no choice in the matter, right? That's what happens when ego is running the show. It's being a victim of life. Life is happening to me, right? When you step into your heart space and allow it to be the true authority that it is, it gives you dominion over your experiences, over your choices, and you see a myriad of options where once were none, with a mere change of perspective, right? And you're able to start seeing life from a place of everything is always happening for me. Everything will always pan out into my highest good because it's willed to be. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so let's see any potentials that we have assisting you guys going forward. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. The Nine of Cups, your dreams are coming true, but don't rest on your laurels. That's what I got to say. You know what I'm saying? Making sure that what it is you guys are pursuing, what it is that you guys are attempting to manifest in your life is coming from a place of your truth and not from those lofty, you know, externally imposed should, oughts, and supposed tos, right? So making sure that you're aspiring to the standards of your truth, you're building a life that's in alignment with your truth and not those expectations of people outside of yourself, right? So we're going to go ahead and throw the dice of resonance. If you want to ask a yes or no question, you can pause me now and do that. I don't interpret these. I just toss them out. If it resonates, it resonates. So we have Aries. We have Venus. We have yes to the answer to your question. We have Aquarius, and we have Bae, lover, partner. You know what I'm saying? Let me go ahead and write this down. I mean, I'm doing now what you guys are seeing underneath this. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, that's definitely involving Aries. So you guys can either be an Aries, or an Aries could be of some significance. So you can see in the Fool, and then Aries coming out. Then we got Cappies, and then we have Libra, and that's another confirmation for the simple fact that we have Venus here. Or you could have your Venus in Aries or Aquarius. I'm just writing these down because all of this I'm writing down is going to be in the description box. And you guys would probably benefit from watching the Seer reading as well as the Wounded Healer reading. And what's not or whatever. So let's go ahead and throw the other dice that you guys are going to name in the comments below. That's what they look like. There's a blue one, a green one, and a purple one. I don't know if that, would help. Oh, wow. You know what's funny? If we looked at this as chakras, it would be like all of the higher chakras, you know? So like the throat chakra, the heart chakra, which is like the connecting factor, and then the crown chakra. Don't have no third eye. Help me name these. I call them the oracle dice right now, and I just don't think it's that cool. All right. We have the North Node. We have the number 12. And who is that? Is that Leo? Leo. Interesting. So your North Node could be in Leo, Aquarius, Aries. And that 12 is making me think of Pisces. Watch these readings fool around and resonate with everybody. And then looking at 12, you guys may want to watch the goddess reading too, because that would be 3. I'm so sorry I'm taking notes during y'all reading. My apologies. All right. So let's see. Let's start with our North Node. Okay, North Node. You're now learning something new about your destiny, where you're going, what you're developing that will carry you forward. This is your legacy. That's so freaking beautiful. That's what I said, man. This is so freaking dope. I legit, this to me is almost as if, man, like I said, like it's a life transition. It's going from one part of your life, like the earlier form of your life, mastering altruism. And it's like giving up the self, and now it's learning how to receive. But it's more or less like mastering one thing, releasing the pain to that. It comes in as an element, and now with it being mixed with another element, it's like a transmutation process. So by default, it's like the person that comes out of this is going to be an entirely different person. But I feel that this is a beautiful thing in the sense that it's you guys transmuting or aligning with your highest and most authentic truth. And so much so that this is something that's going to solidify your legacy. It's the person you will be known to be. So I feel like that's why that point to ponder came out. That was so important, right? It's like, what is the message of your life? You know, what are you telling people about you? You know what I mean? Because a lot of people may be struggling with not living their highest truth, right? So with our, so it could be a person whose North Node is in Leo that's important, or just a person that's a Leo, or you could be a Leo. But anyway, so with our number 12 means a good lesson to learn, and we're going to go into this in the extended, is looking at the archetypal elements of the Empress as well as the Hanged Man and what that is about, right? And literally, if we legit didn't reduce it and just went straight with the Hanged Man, the spiritual meaning of the Hanged Man card is so legit. It's so next level. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a really great archetype to align with the energies of. So it's not just necessarily about like a tarot card and staring at a tarot card for the whole month, but it's about the lesson that the Hangman as well as the Empress would teach us, right? Now, the number 12 is about divine timing. Are you happy with what you've created? Right? The themes are spiritual lessons, blocks and ending cycles, time for inner work to identify lessons of the cycle via repeating patterns. Y'all, I'm trying to tell you. When I tell you that these readings be so on point, I just cannot deal. Like, not even at all, not even a little bit. Like, the synchronicity is driving me insane, and it's so freaking beautiful. So these are all things that we're going to go into in our extended reading, but that has been your reading. How long have we been here? 30 minutes? I hope this has been a dope 30 minutes of me talking at your face. I love your face. And I will see you guys sooner than later.